everybody, it's Kelly with kellyscards.ca and welcome to this third card in my Everyday Card Kit number 10 series. For this card, I thought because it was summer, I would like to also pick out another summery card. Really love this beach image with this beach chair and it says rest. And I think this would be a great card for pretty much any occasion, but especially the ones where we want to send thoughts and hugs to people. I think this is a really great and calming card, but you could always add happy birthday to this card or whatever sentiment you might need. So there is a lot of layering in this card, and to get started we're going to start building upon this kind of tealy blue mat and working our way up. So that is the layer that breaks up the color onto this white card base, and I have this piece underneath, and that's the one we're going to start building on. There's a lot of layers in this card. There is the white card base and the blue mat that will kind of break up the colors, but the one we're going to start building upon is this kind of sandy color, and we're going to build upon that, and then when we've got all of this built onto here, we'll start layering the other layers. So there's quite a few layers in this card. As I said, we're going to start out with this piece and then we're going to work our way up. So our first piece would be this piece. It's very pretty paper. And we're going to add this piece. As you can see, it's from the same paper collection. Yeah. And we're going to add this one like this. Now this is not going to stretch all the way from the top of your card mat to the bottom. This is just going to go almost to the top and almost to the bottom. And we're going to have this about here. And we're just going to make sure we get that piece really straight right off the bat, because that's going to start our layering process. So that piece will go on there, and then I've got a couple pieces here. Really like these chevrons to add a little bit of pattern to this card, and then I have punched this white piece. And when I do this, I like to do this and add a ribbon across, but I thought I would really like to add these little bling here. And these blings are all interconnected, and I thought that would just add a nice sparkle to the card. And instead of a ribbon going across, I thought of adding this. So to get started on this section, we're going to start to add this piece first, and we're going to do this one first because it is on the bottom. And we just have to kind of get an idea of where we want this piece. And I'm going to use my grid here just to help me align this. With the chevrons, it gets a little bit funky when you're looking at it, so I'm going to add that there. And this piece is a little bit longer, so I'm just going to flip this over and bring in my scissors here, and I'm just going to remove that excess off of that edge. And now that that is added, I'm going to add this white little piece, and all I've done is this is just a piece of cardstock, and I've taken a Martha Stewart punch and I have punched that to add a little bit more frill to the card. And we're just going to add this to make sure that we still see this piece here, because we definitely want to see that piece. And we're going to add that like that. And again, you can just cut off the extra piece that's sticking out there. Now that's starting to look very good and layered up. The image will be coming in eventually, so what I'll do is I'm going to just add the image again to the backing mat here, and I like to do this now so that when I'm moving it around for placement, I'm only moving around the one piece and not the two pieces. Just makes it a little bit easier to move the pieces around, like I say, so you can kind of get an idea on how things are going to be placed. And now that that's added, and you can see why I have put all these like tones together, it's going to really look good once it is all matted up. And now we can just kind of play where we want our image, and we're going to bring our bling in here. And then of course we have our flowers. So this part is pretty much done, even though we just want to add our bling. Now there's a couple ways you can adhere this bling. To add the bling now, I wouldn't suggest using this. I would actually suggest using something like this matte medium, something wet that will dry and not be sticky after, or a hot glue. So I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue here, and it's a little bit more tricky to use hot glue because you want to make sure that you don't get it too globby, but I think this is going to be one of the best ways that I'm going to be able to adhere this down. So I'm just going to tap my glue gun along here. With hot glue, you do have a little bit of time when it's hot to be able to add it. And again, I'm just going to lightly tap it. It's hard to tell sometimes if the glue is coming out. I'm going to add it there, and then I'm going to lay it right across. Just be very careful because this will be hot. And I'm laying it across here, and I like the way it looks. We can kind of get rid of the little strands of the hot glue after, and we just want to make sure that this part is straight. And it looks fairly good, and I'm just going to cut off this little bit of extra now here. And there we go. And I like how that looks. I'm just going to pull all of these hot glue strings out of here, and it looks fairly good actually. That was a really good way to adhere it. Some of the wet glues might be sticky after. That's why I like this matte medium. It's not sticky. So now that we've got that, we can add this piece now to our blue mat, our first blue mat. And I'm just going to bring my tape runner in here to add this piece. I'm going to make sure it is nice and even and straight. And then once I've got that on there, just use my bone folder to help everything get adhered. Really like the look. And what I really loved was I took that piece at first. I thought that was going to be kind of the end of the card, and I decided to go with a white card base because I really liked how it just framed everything in, and it helped this piece here and the white in the chevrons just work better in the card. So I'm just going to use my score tape now. This is definitely getting on the heavier side, and I'll pull these off. And now we will bring our white card base in and add this to the card. And again, there was a lot of layering done on this card, but it all seemed to really work out because a lot of the tones were the same. There wasn't anything overly bright over another. And again, with this white card base around really helps kind of just pull this in. So the last thing is we have our image and a sentiment if you want to add your sentiment, and then our flowers. I thought it would be nice to raise up the image, so I'm including this piece of foam into the kits, and this will help just pop it up off the card. We'll add that there, and then we will bring this in and place this as well. So just got to keep in mind where we want our flower, and I kind of thought that it would be about here when I was originally trying to figure out the card, and then I'd have the flower kind of over like that. And yes, I really like how that looks, so I'm going to push this down. And now we're going to do our flowers. So you have a couple different options on how you're going to add your flowers. I always add mine with hot glue, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use hot glue, but you can use any other adhesive that you want. We just have to make sure we don't cover up the word rest. And I'm just going to use my tool because I don't want to use my fingers because it is hot glue. And I'll just put that down. And then now I'm ready to stick my other flower on. But before I do, I'm going to use a little bling for the center just to give some dimension and definition to that little flower, and it will help work with the other bling as well. So I'll push that on there. I will add my hot glue, and I think I'm going to add the hot glue right to the big flower. And then I'm just going to put this on top, and when I like the way it is sitting, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a push. And I'll try to just flatten everything out here. I just don't want it going anywhere. And I really like how that looks. And I thought just because of all the bling down here, it might be fitting to put some bling into that corner. I'm going to take some of this matching clear bling now and just add it to that corner. And I just really like how this makes this pretty up this card. These colors are kind of subdued, they're not overly flashy, but with the bling, I really like how it adds that little bit extra and that little pop to the card. For the inside of the card, we will just finish it off. Again, this is white inside, but now this side is so much heavier with all of this layering that I like to always include this inside piece, especially on these busier and heavier cards. It just helps with the weight. When it stands up, it's not going to fall over as easily. So we'll just add this piece in here, like that. And again, I just like how it cleans up the inside. It actually just looks a lot better that way. So that will finish off this third card in my everyday card kit number 10. Really love this card, love the colors. Again, they're kind of pastel and there's nothing really extra bright about them, but using the bling and the flowers really help add something to this card. I also try to keep in mind that I want to make these cards available for as many sentiments as possible, so you guys have so many options to send these cards out, and I think this one is such a fitting card for so many things. So I hope you enjoyed that card. You can check me out on my website at kellyscards.ca. You can subscribe for more videos, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.